Welcome to episode 6 of Inside Voices. Today we're talking about why we'll never get rid of our hybrid working model.
Not ever, never.
But never say never.
I'm Deborah Hepburn, founding partner at RBH.
I'm Nat Griffiths, people partner at RBH. So what are we talking about today, Deb?
Well, apparently we're going to be talking about why we're not going to be changing our hybrid working model. And we're also going to talk about how there are some really contentious opinions out there which may or may not support ours.
It's definitely an opinion divider.
I think if we look back, everything changed in and then particularly after the pandemic.
Absolutely. I can remember those first few days when we were talking about how we were going to make it work working from home, how integral Teams was going to be to our day to day, and everybody just being completely shocked and horrified and wondering how we'd ever make it work. And
imagine going from 5 days a week to in here to you're at home, you're on your own.
I know. It seems like such a long time ago. And looking back 5 years, I can remember feeling really isolated from work colleagues. It was quite hard to get used to it. I think that it was such an extreme move from being here, spending so much of our time here, to not seeing anybody face to face. It was a real shock. But one thing I'm really pleased about is that when we did start coming back into the office, we obviously took the decision to move to a hybrid model, the one that we still have today, quite quickly. I think we had so many conversations about the best way to do it, whether to sort of do one day at a time, to be ultra flexible. And I think we took a stance quite early on that our 3 days in the office, 2 days working from home would be right for us and right for our clients. And it's actually quite nice to stand by that today and see that it does still work for people. I think it shows the importance of having that 60% balance of being here as a team, as opposed to the flip side of maybe only coming in 1 or 2 days a week.
And I think a lot of people felt, can I come back into the office? I don't know how to do that now.
Definitely.
I didn't know how to do working from home, and now I don't know how to do being back in the office, being put in that social space, having other people around me, the buzz of other people all day long. But it was so important that we did do that to actually break down those barriers of I can't step out of my home bubble.
There's obviously been a lot of talk in the news over the last couple of months about businesses trying to get people back in either full-time or 4 days a week from only being in 1 or 2 days. The benefits for working from home don't really need explaining. I think for everybody's well-being, it's great to be in the place that they live and be closer to it. For people who have longer commutes, they don't have to consider those. Flexibility for people with dependents, whether that's sort of elderly parents or young families, or people who...
Or both.
Yeah, or both. Or both. The sandwich years. That's another episode. Or even people whose lifestyles have just changed more. People want to be outdoors more. People have more pets. There are so many things that have changed in the last 5 years that I think it's important to recognise some flexibility and an allowance for it. There's a lot of talk about productivity, isn't there? And
absolutely.
How productive our business is with people working from home, which we can come on to. I'm sure we can come on to that. But I think it's important that people feel happy and trusted to work in their own space. Yeah. So I think those 2 days of being at home are really important to us and the teams. And from conversations that I've had with people, they're definitely doing days. They're days when you can be hugely productive and get through things, so long as your days aren't completely taken up with Teams talks still. I think that works. I think there's lots of positives.
I think one of the things that really worried me very early on was watching young people have to end or even complete most of their university, college, apprentice times in a bubble, working away from an environment. And what happened was people got used to that. And then when they left university, college, apprenticeship, work experience from home, they ended up not feeling they could go into an office, creative barn environment. And that I felt really, really sorry for those kids, those young people, that they never got to be with other people, to learn from other people, to have what we call learning by osmosis, of just watching what people do, watching good people at work, watching bad people at work, seeing people who do things the way that you really admire, and seeing other people do things and knowing that you wouldn't work that way.
I think it's really interesting what you say about young people, because I've been interviewing a lot of undergrads at the moment. We're obviously recruitment and having a drive of new people into the agency, which is ace.
It's wonderful.
But you can really sense an anxiousness about the thought of being in an office environment. I think a lot of these people have only been to university through COVID. So their experience of uni is very different to people pre 5 years ago. And the thought of coming in, they're actually quite nervous about. But the fact that we do operate a hybrid working model, like, is really appealing to them. I think they can see that they are getting the best of both worlds. They don't want to be purely working from home. They want to see how other people do things and to have that experience. So I definitely feel like the recruitment process I've just most recently been through underlines that. It definitely stacks up.
Actually, people saying, I don't want to work at home because actually mum and dad are there, or I've got a house share, or there are various people around me and I've only got this tiny little bedroom. I mean, I spoke to somebody who was sitting on his bed, working on his laptop, and then going out and getting his lunch, eating it on his bed, so he had his own space to work in, and then at night time going to bed. I mean, that is not, it's not an aspirational lifestyle, is it? It's not what you want. It's not going to innovate anything or excite you. Or
I think as well, just coming back to that point of productivity, there's been so much in the news about businesses, e-commerce, the entire economy suffering because of people working from home and it not being proper work. And in the creative industries, I just don't think anything.
Elon Musk with his laptop users in La La Land.
Yeah, our productivity, our output is creative output.
Yeah,
it's visual, it's writing, it's looking at ideas,
it's bouncing off each other, challenging, arguing, slamming doors, but actually working together to get the best out of every project, every brief.
I do think for creative industries, it is important to sort of have that space at home and to have the space here doing that with other people. The collaboration is huge.
You need people.
People
you need people to bounce off. People need people.
As Benjamin Zephaniah would say.
We've talked a lot about the positives of working from home. I have picked up on a couple of negatives. For example, if you're working from home, some people feel that if they leave their laptop, their desktop, and they go for a wee or they go for lunch, that somebody might think they're actually not working.
Somebody's watching you.
Somebody's watching, which you don't get that feeling in the office.
No, that's true.
It can make you feel, if you're particularly sensitive or a really, anxious person about making sure people know you're doing the best job you possibly can, it can feel quite difficult to separate that home work.
Yeah, I think it can. You've experienced it, don't you, yourself, when the yellow tick appears on Teams and you're like, oh, I'm showing this.
You rang me yesterday and I was panicking because I was actually on live chat to Virgin and I was panicking that you would think I wasn't there for you.
I like to feel like we instill in our people that we trust them and we're not installing spyware like some companies are, or finding absolutely crazy ways to check their people's productivity.
More than half of the UK bosses say that they don't actually trust their staff from working home without monitoring them.
Spying on them. Employers can use special keystroke logging software which tracks what employees are typing.
We've never done that.
No.
And we never would.
No, we wouldn't. So I like to think people know that, but I do understand personally that feeling. And I guess it's balance, isn't it? There are other things that I think can negatively impact on working from home. I know for sure, and I know you've experienced it, that suddenly turning off and turning on the home version of you when you're at your office or kitchen table or wherever you might happen to be working, having to flip immediately to mom mode without having a podcast,
daughter mode,
or music high volume on the drive home, just to decompress.
So important. The drive home to me has always been so important. Whether whether you're driving, you're on a train, a bus, whatever. that journey home or into work, it's a way to sort of like assimilate what you've got to happen that day or has happened that day, and to actually just, like you say, actually just listen to brilliant music and turn your mind off altogether.
But then there is
It's your
a benefit to knowing that you don't have to do that every day.
Yes,
and actually
every day.
sometimes it's quite nice to walk the kids to school, come in and just have fresh from the walk, get straight into it.
So you need a bit of each.
You do.
Do you think it's always going to be this way, or do you think it would change, that we might change our model, or that?
I don't know. I can't imagine us changing it anytime soon. When we first emerged from COVID, I don't know that I thought this was how we would still be working a few years later, if I'm honest. But I don't see a need to change it. There are days when there are days when the office is really busy on a Monday and a Friday.
Yeah.
We've opened up. Clients are coming in more and more. Face-to-face meetings are happening. We're always shooting. So it's not a do or die. It's not that we're closed on a Monday and Friday. So I think as long as we always take that flexible approach, I think it can work the best way for everybody.
I also think as we grow and as the world changes, we need to be open to the idea that actually the talent we need could be found in Argentina or somewhere else. And actually you might have some people who are geographically separate to us, but very much part of RBH. And that will be a new challenge as to how we make them live and breathe our ethos whilst being in Argentina.
Yeah, the founder of WordPress, he said that his first employees were scattered around the world, and they're people that he'd always worked with online rather than face to face, and that's why his ethos is definitely about working. I don't even think he calls it working from home, but it's working wherever you are. It's almost a bit nomadic in its approach. And I'm not
interestingly, he brings them together though.
And
he actually says something about bringing them together so that they can actually get to properly know each other. So although he has this ethos, there's still that sense of people need to see people up close and live and breathe them, even if it's just for 2 days a year, to know each other properly and to go away and then for them to be a proper team.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. So, Nat, Stuart Rose said working from home is not proper work. Elon Musk said that laptop users are living in la la land when they work from home. We're never, ever going to agree with those guys, are we?
No. Thanks for watching and listening to us. If you like what you heard, then please subscribe and like and share on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. Spotify, we're on Spotify now too.
No, brilliant.